love this place! The rogue can be used as a case study for the issues plaguing new D&D, a term I use to refer to 5th edition and D&D 2024. Let's start with something that might seem small to you, but I think is really important, and that's the name. What is in a name? Well, quite a bit, actually, which is why I take issue with the change from thief in the earliest editions of the game to rogue. This shift happened in 3rd edition D&D, but its roots trace back to 2nd edition. In 2e, rogue referred to a group of character classes, including the thief and the bard. Much like warrior in that edition encompassed the fighter and ranger, and priest included the cleric and druid. Now, within this structure, the thief remained its own distinct entity, a character devoted to sneaky, larcenous activities. In 3rd edition, the group concept was scratched, but while the bard remained a separate class, the thief was rebranded as the rogue, the name for the umbrella class. This change was subtle, but in some ways very significant. When a player sees thief on their character sheet, it's a constant reminder of what their role is: to steal. Whether it's liberating treasure from a dungeon or from the pockets of unwitting nobles, the name thief clearly defines the character's purpose. Even if the character wants to play a Robin Hood type or a Conan-esque adventurer, the class's identity is grounded in thievery, driving narrative possibilities and party dynamics. But what does rogue imply? The term is kind of vague, almost deliberately so. So I asked Mike Merles, the lead designer of 5th edition, about this on X. Now, he said the origin of changing the name from thief to rogue was this: the complaints from DMs that players thought thieves were supposed to steal from the party. He says he thought that was a bit nutty, but over the years, he says he met people at cons who played that way or recalled it being a thing. Well, there's always been those types of people playing the game, of course. And they usually end up getting attacked by their own party members. With all due respect to Mike, I think that explanation feels a little flimsy. Sure, some players might interpret thief as an excuse to rob their own party, but in the end, isn't that an opportunity for storytelling? Maybe the party turns a blind eye, blackmails the thief into doing something for them if caught, or metes out justice to the sticky-fingered rapscallion. This all sounds like drama and character development, not really a problem to an experienced group. Changing the name to appease a lowest common denominator audience, players who might misuse the class, sets a precedent for design choices that dilute the game's identity. Now, 3rd edition introduced a more martial direction for the thief rogue, but it was 4th edition, and especially 5th, that transformed the class into something far removed from its original purpose. In 5e, rogues became pseudo frontline fighters, thanks to mechanics like sneak attack being usable almost every turn. Standing toe-to-toe with enemies is not really difficult when having an ally within 5 feet is really all you need to trigger this massive damage boost. Now combine this with support abilities like protection or healing word, and you have a class that is far closer to a fighter than a true thief. Now this isn't just a mechanical problem, it's thematic. Why should a rogue, a class historically defined by guile and opportunism as the thief, be designed to excel in sustained combat? Where's the emphasis on striking from the shadows and then retreating? Now, the shift toward melee-focused gameplay and constant availability of combat abilities reflects a broader trend: the influence of video games. Mike Merles actually confirmed this in another tweet when I asked him what his feelings were on the rogue getting permanent backstab, etc. He responded by saying that he thinks it highlights a design challenge in a world where most people come from video games. Players expect to use their cool trick, and the game's math expects it too. Ooh boy, that's kind of dangerous there, don't you think? It definitely pushes the game from strategic to tactical. 5e rogues are much more gray mouser than earlier editions. I'm not even sure I agree with Mike on that last line, although I can kind of see where he's coming from. So now, while 4th edition took a lot of heat for being overtly inspired by video games, 5e and D&D 2024 don't take nearly enough criticism for having many of the same elements. albeit more cleverly hidden. This expectation to have cool video game tricks to do every round has transformed D&D from a strategic, story choice game into a tactical, dopamine-driven experience. Every class must be equally effective in combat, and everyone must get their moment to shine. The result is homogenization. Rogues are just as capable in a fight as fighters, so why take a fighter as your class? Now, muddying the waters further is the fact that other classes can easily replicate the rogue's traditional roles, such as picking locks and finding traps. And they can do that by taking the same skills, such as perception. But if everyone can do everything, then why have classes at all? Castles and Crusades handles this issue fairly well. It maintains clear class identities by penalizing characters for stepping on another class's toes. For example, if a 6th-level druid tries to find a secret door, they have to subtract their level from the roll, ensuring the rogue remains the best at what they do. So this design philosophy where everyone gets something at every level and classes overlap in their roles creates this kind of arms race. Players now expect rewards, whether it's a new feat, ability, or stat bonus. Older editions weren't afraid to give players nothing for a level or two, and that restraint made progression feel a lot more meaningful. Just as in life, there is value in the postponement of rewards and riches. So where does this leave us? Well, D&D's current trajectory seems unsustainable. By prioritizing immediate gratification and video game-inspired design, it risks alienating us long-term fans while competing for new fans in a space where it probably can't ultimately win. Tabletop RPGs thrive on their uniqueness, the limitless possibilities of imagination, and collaborative storytelling. Trying to mimic the video game experience undermines that strength. There's already indications that D&D 2024 isn't performing as well as Hasbro might have hoped. If Wizards of the Coast continues down this path, the demand for alternative systems or older editions will only grow. Pathfinder's rise during the 4E era is proof of this. A course correction emphasizing the game's storytelling roots and class distinctiveness is crucial to retain D&D's identity. That, and of course, not catering to the mentally ill weirdos who want to remake the game to their own delusional tastes. The Rogue's evolution is emblematic of the issues facing new D&D. It reflects a broader trend towards homogenization, video game-inspired mechanics, and a focus on everyone having a good time at the expense of meaningful challenges and character differentiation. If the game continues to cater to the lowest common denominator, it risks losing what made it special in the first place. For D&D to thrive, it has to return to its roots, a game where creativity, risk, and collaboration reign supreme. Thank you for watching. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.